Hey everybody. Hello everyone. Um it is me, Danielle J. Mitchell, your up and coming queen of real estate, and I'm here for today's and this week's Tuesday Tip It Too. I'm excited to be with you guys. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk about a really challenging topic. So let's just dive right on into it because I'm excited to talk about this. So number one, what I of course I need you to do, I need you to do what it says down here. I need you to like, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, share. I need you to share. Thank you to all those who are new to the channel and all those who are returning, all those who are faithful to watch. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support that I can get. All right. So this week I'm talking about, should you wait? Okay, buyer. I have some clients who are, buying in this market, and the question that comes up sometimes is, should I just wait to buy? And we're gonna walk through, comb through if it is the best decision to wait. Now, when I'm talking about waiting, I'm not, talking about, oh, I should wait to buy based on you need to save money, or based on work, family, personal circumstances, that kind of thing. I'm talking about, you are a ready buyer, you are, pre-approval ready or already pre-approved. You have your savings, you have your grants, you have everything lined up to buy, right? And your circumstances aren't preventing you from buying. Your current housing situation is not preventing you from buying, but you have everything in place to buy. It's just a matter of, I'm hearing about this market. I heard it from my friends. I heard it from my family. I hear it on the news. I see it on social media. I'm hearing all these different things. Or I'm in the home buying process right now. I put in an offer or two or three or 18 and I'm not getting any bites. I'm talking to you. That's the buyer that I'm talking to right now. I'm talking to the one that is ready to go, or you're already in this market trying to look for your dream home, and you're being challenged. Okay, let's talk through it. All right, so if you don't know, let's have a refresher course right now. It is a seller's market. So for all my sellers out there, or potential sellers, if you have a property, income property, multifamily, single family, whatever you have, and you are considering selling, yes, the time for you to get the most, at least as of right now, the most, the most for your property is now. It is a seller's market. Okay, so you could cash out on that equity during this time. These houses are lasting for 2.5 seconds. Um, so if it's priced right, if it looks halfway decent, it don't even have to look all the way decent. But if it looks halfway decent and priced right, you are going to sell that house. So I'm letting all of you know that it is a seller's market. I talk about this all the time. It's been a seller market for the past about 4 or 5 years. It's been that way for a long time. What does that mean? That the inventory is low. It's all about supply and demand, right? There are more buyers than there are inventory, right? So that causes the selling prices, the purchase prices to rise. And you have my poor buyers out here struggling, struggling to secure something. And it comes down to the smallest details in the situation. So let's go through, should you wait? My first answer to that is no. Again, I'm talking to the buyers that are ready. You're in the market looking now, or you have all the makings to be ready. It has nothing to do with personal situation, nothing like that. My first answer is going to be, do it now. Now. So when you look at it from the standpoint of people who said, oh my goodness, the pandemic hit, coronavirus hit, like I'm not going to buy, I'm going to just hold off. Now, there was somewhat of a standstill, right, for maybe a couple of months at the onset of the pandemic. But those who were in the middle of buying or had just started, got back to it. Once we kind of figured this thing out and figured out how to be safe, people got back on it and was looking, right? It did not stop people from buying their homes. I remember closing a deal. This is a couple of months, almost 2 months after the world was shut down, and was able to close on it because I was in the middle of a transaction at the beginning of the pandemic, right? So we were able to get it done. And at that time, when the pandemic started, rates were just starting to go low. All these holds on student loans, holds on rent, and holds on everything, right? To help balance out the market. And historic lows happened during that time, right? And so I remember during that time, people were like, no, I'm going to wait it out. I was like, come on, buy your house. Buy your house. Why is it important to buy when rates are low? It's important because you have more borrowing power, right? So let's say, just as an example, you have your pre-approval 500,000 at an interest rate of 3.1%. With 20% down, 30-year mortgage, your monthly payments might be about $1,708 before taxes, insurance, and other additional costs. Over the lifetime of the loan, you'll pay about $614,918, right? But let's say that your interest rate is at 4.1%. Okay. Your monthly payments is going to be at about 1739. So that lessens, right? Lessens your borrowing power. Number one, you're paying more on the back end, as well as your affordability on the front end. Okay. So you always have to remember that if your interest rate is higher, that means that your monthly payment is going to be higher. And so that also means that your affordability is going to be less. True story. I had a client of mine, we started a couple months ago. She was pre-approved for a certain amount. A couple of weeks ago, we could go up in that pre-approval amount by maybe 10,000, 15,000. Now we absolutely cannot. Absolutely can't go up. And again, depending on the taxes and depending on the insurance rate now, because listen, what happened was interest rates went up from the start of getting a house from the start, and I mean in a month or two has went up, right? So now, before you could stretch that budget a little bit more and go up maybe 5K, maybe 10K, depending on the taxes, right? But now that's not the case. Now it's like we're struggling to even that pre-approval you originally were pre-approved for that amount. We're struggling to even, make sure that's not out of budget, right? Because interest rates are game changers. The other thing I want you to consider, so interest rates, that's not something that they're always going up. So that's the point. That's number one. They're always going up. So you can wait it out. You can do all these different things, but you never know what's going to happen with interest rates. So to sit up here and then, hey, if interest rates go down, you can always refinance and be saving on your mortgage, right? Or hey, you could buy at that time if you choose to, right? But you never know what it's going to do. So to try and wait it out, it's like trying to play old school double dutch, right? Trying to play double dutch, and you do like this. I'm gonna jump in. I'm going to jump in, and while you're waiting to jump in, interest rate are rising. All these things are happening, where the house that could have been yours will absolutely pass you by, right? The other thing that happens is that listen, this rentals are just as competitive and just as overpriced. Rentals are just as competitive and just as overpriced. So when you think, hey, I'm gonna just go ahead and get a rental, if you're trying to get, a decent rental that's a home and, comfortable and all that other stuff in the neighborhood that you want, it is super competitive. They're looking for credit sometimes higher than most, well, not sometimes, a lot of times higher than most mortgage companies. Like it's higher than what you would need to get approved, pre-approved for, right? So, for FHA, the standard is the lowest you can be at is 550 or 580, I'm sorry. But the general rule of thumb is to be at least at 620. But a lot of these rentals want you to be at 680, 700, 750. They want you to be up there, especially depending on where it is, depending on what kind of house it is. And landlords are able to be biased, as biased as they want to be, because it's their property. So whatever they want to require, if they want you to have pay $100 for the application fee and provide however many months up front and all these different things, it can be just as tough, if not tougher, than trying to figure out in this market. So that's not always the best rule of thumb either. Just thinking, oh, I'm gonna just go ahead and get a rental. No, it is not easy and highly competitive to get a rental. Okay, the median rent has jumped up 8% from last year. Bananas. You're waiting for the housing market to crash. We good. We're okay right now. The housing market is not going to crash. Okay. If anything, interest rates might go down before a housing market crash. Right. So that's a possibility. But again, people can predict stuff, people can assume, people can do all that other stuff. But quite frankly, we do not know when that's going to happen. So there is competition out there. Okay. And at the end of the day, the standards for getting a mortgage, the standards for the interest rates, it's getting tighter. It's getting to be a lot, which is going to, the good thing is it kind of helps to balance out how many buyers are out there. But I don't want to, push out those first time home buyers or second time home buyers or any time home buyers that have the chance to get a house, but because the housing market is booming and things and regulations are changing, they might miss their opportunity to get their dream home, okay? Or at least get a home that they can turn into a dream home, right? So listen, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Oh, I do want to say, consider this is that, buying sooner helps to create equity, right? So even if it's not your dream house, if this is your first house and it's not your dream house, you can get your dream house. You can leverage that house that you get into that, is good and that's suitable, but maybe it's not, your forever home, and that's okay. But you can eventually leverage that because then you're creating equity as opposed to waiting it out, or as opposed to trying to rent something where you're just throwing your money away, right? I hope that helps. Because the moral of the story is the time to buy is now. It's always now because nobody knows what the housing market is going to do. People can assume, people can do all kinds of things, but nobody knows. And at the end of the day, the same people who thought, hey, yeah, I'm gonna wait it out when the pandemic hit and the interest rate were low and all that good stuff, missed out on a great opportunity for affordability. Okay. I was one who was able to secure a home during that, during the time where the housing market had them low interest rate. And I just like, just look at that interest rate. It's just beautiful. It just makes my soul glad, because that's when you get a deal. That's a deal. When you're able to secure something and get it way lower, that's a deal, right? Now, buying a house, you're not getting a deal. You're not going to get a deal because it's too competitive. But at the very least, you can, you know, get a better interest rate. Interest rates are still lower than, the 90s, than when the big crash happened in 07, 08. It's still lower than that. So you're still good. So let's make it happen. Listen, you can do so. If this moved you in any way, if this made you feel like you could go on with your life and buy, go down there, book.djmrealtyco.com, and schedule a consultation. I would love to help you. I will counsel you through the bumps, the hills, the valleys of facing this market, because it is a lot. It is a struggle. You definitely want to be mentally and emotionally ready to come out here and, have some moments where you might feel discouraged, you might feel disappointed, but all we have to do is strategize. If you let me help you strategize, you're going to get to the finish line. Okay. You're going to get there. If you can solidify your deal breakers, use some strategies that I'm going to help you do in securing a house, you're going to get there. All you need is one accepted offer and one house, okay, to take you to closing. And that's it. Thank you for joining me for this week's Tuesday tip at 2. And remember, I am a Philly realtor, PA realtor. And I typically do Philadelphia and the surrounding suburbs. So if you're interested, I'm local. If you're here, I'm local. And I would love to partner with you in your home buying journey or help you sell, because you can get top dollar. I can help you do that as well. Remember, there's no place like home. There's no place like home buying. There's no place like home selling. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.